xấu thắng hay thua cay à? Sơ mi. Em mà vào hỗ trợ là vào của anh. Được biết là không phải anh.
Last play didn't hurt them on Baron, but that one certainly will. G2 almost looked like they started that fight. It looked like G2 were wanting to go aggressive, not respecting the teleport that can come from backseat to even up the numbers. 10 seconds just under for this Baron, and if they can get a pick in mid lane, that would even crush through what G2 would have left anyway.
Roccat has taken advantage of these mistakes, and they're pushing in now on this Baron. There's teleport for Betsy back in the base. Faxi's holding the line. They want this fight. The wall comes in. Wadi is isolated from the other side. Brightstalker, he just hops right over it. And down goes Perks. Teleport coming in right behind for the flank. Meganari, I don't think it's going to get there in time. Looks like they don't even need this Baron stress. They're just going to push in. Double kill for Yarnin onto Trick. He's looking for that triple. He's got a flash. He doesn't take it.
It's happening again. Pyra Roccat, they are going to beat G2 at this rate for the second time this season in the last week of the regular split. I don't know what is in the water right now, but Roccat, Kingslayers is absolutely true.
Not once, not twice. These guys just keep on doing it. They get themselves the Baron. Oh my goodness, in this third game, in 30 minutes, they are looking like they're gonna shut the door on G2's hopes of the first seed.
So Perks expect and Trick know they have to try and close in, but Sven gets cut off. He has to move out around the fight. Never does he get in because he can't commit to it. He cannot commit to a fight that G2 have already lost. And that means G2 just concede the Baron from it. Trick again caught out. This Jarvan was the first pick in this game and has not had the effect that G2 wanted it to. Pride Stalker has found Trick multiple times with his ultimate, locked him down, earned objectives off it, and Roccat, again, a second game in this series, are earning a convincing victory over three-time champions G2 Esports.
And for G2, this has to be nightmare scenario. They locked themselves out of that first seed, and well, they're still playoff bound. They have still been looking good since Rift Rivals. We don't want to make too much of it, but Roccat are doing it, Stress. I cannot believe it.
What if, Pyra, what if, like, Roccat, what if they were in playoffs? They can have performances like this against G2.
What if they beat NIP? I don't understand anymore.
Like, this is going to be devastating, mentally-wise, to win this game. Like,
this is going to be where it goes right now. They're going to knock everybody away. Mythy just can't get in with the ult. They're going to clean house. Down goes Mythy. Sven expect Perks all bleeding out right now as they run away from this fight. Inhibitor falls. Yarnin, he's hopping and looking to take down number 2 as they just keep on opening the doors, busting down G2's base. And they're looking to end this one.
Roccat with perhaps the gift to Fnatic and a big win for themselves. Roccat at the end of the split gonna earn another victory over G2.
And that is going to be it. That is the final fight. Down goes the last Nexus turn, and Roccat recognize no royalty. They bow to no one.
Oh my goodness, Pyra.
You can never count these guys out. Truly the dark horses of the European LCS, and you know what? It's a damn shame we don't get to see them in playoffs.
So unfortunate for Roccat. 2 splits in a row. Amazing performances like this. Wins over back-to-back champions. Roccat have shown us they can have these performances. They beat Fnatic earlier in the split. They had a close series with Fnatic in the middle of the split. They beat G2 now.
And they lost to the sub-squad, by the way. I don't understand this team.
How does it happen? Congratulations for today's victory, Roccat. Great win.
Yeah, honestly, you just got to be lost for words when the way this team plays up against the top teams. GG.
Yeah, absolutely GG. I'm at a loss for words. If this Roccat showed up every time they hit the stage, I don't even know. They beat all of the top teams when it comes to it in moments and through good, clean play as well. Like early game advantages, maybe not so much in this game, but look, Shannon and Wadid didn't die this game against Sven and Mythy. They find the catches around Pride Stalker. They showed us growth throughout the split. And this Roccat is such a perplexing team to try and predict.
Well, you know, it's kind of like they say, they're the ones setting the rules. I feel like it's really hard to play by Rockat's game. And, you know, they did it once again on their second to last game of the regular split when it doesn't matter for playoffs. Roccat just say, we'll take you down, G2, no problem.
It was good to watch. It was fun to watch. The first game was great. The second game, they went back and said, okay, it wasn't the Aurelia matchup that messed us up. We can go back, we can play it a different way. Expect couldn't quite contend with it, and they found Trick every opportunity. 0-7-3.
Hey, oh, Pride Stalker though, man.
Yeah,
this series, it just emphasizes how much growth we've seen out of this guy. Young player, was known as a Rengar prodigy when he was very, very young, but he comes up huge in this series. Even the game they lost, he was still setting up solid fights for the team, and we've seen some diversity in his picks, playing this Gragas tank, and then just coming out with the comfort Warwick and deleting people.
Looking very strong for Pride Stalker. We started the Challenger split all the way in spring saying, hey, Pride Stalker wasn't looking so great, didn't seem to know how to read the map. And that was months ago. That was a long time ago. But now you look at the growth, out-jungling Trick, catching him multiple times. Like, he and the rest of Rocket looked superb in games 1 and 3 of this series.
Absolutely. Now, Rocket lived up to their names as Kingslayers as they took down G2 in a huge upset. Here are Shox and Vedius to wrap up the series.
Thank you very much, Pyra. They do it again. God damn it, Rocket. And the way they did it, we just have to commend them for their play in Game 1 and in Game 3. There was no funny business. There was no cheese picks. There was no unexpected picks. They just played well.
Yeah, you could only but praise Rocket. Sure, there were a couple of mishaps in the early game, but they never gave up. They always punished, in particular, Trick. In this game, but also in this series, who, while he didn't have the strongest performance, you really have to highlight how often Pride Stalker was able to land that ultimate, able to set up his team for success. And whenever things looked dire for the side of Rocket, it was always Pride Stalker or Hyanan or someone finding that pick and finding that great play to give them windows back into the game.
You mentioned Trick. He died a total of 14 times over the 3 games. That is definitely not his best performance of the split. But aside from that, it seemed that if he wasn't really going off, the whole team of G2 didn't seem to be on the same page because they played a near perfect or a very good game in Game 2. But if it didn't work at all in Games 1 and 3.
No. Unfortunately for Trick, I'm not entirely sure what was wrong. Maybe it was just a bad day. People have bad weeks. Or maybe Rocket had just his kryptonite. You know?
Yeah.
This is not the first time that G2 have lost the Rocket right at the end of the regular season. And this will also lock in Fnatic for first place.
Yeah, let's take a look at the standings. Last split, if you cast your mind back, it was throwing something in the water for Fnatic to get to that first spot in lieu of G2. But this time around, it's G2 locked into the second place with this loss. So anything can happen basically in the Fnatic NIP series or in the...
Minions have spawned.
Like a riot rocket every revision, but you listen to the tone and the violent rhythm and know the words sound steady, some empties within them. We say yeah, with fists flying up in the air, like we're holding on to something that's invisible there, cause we're living at the mercy of the pain and the fear, until we get it, forget it, let it all disappear. Yeah. Waiting for the end to come, wishing I had strength to stand. This is not what I had planned. It's out of my control. Flying at the speed of light, thoughts were spinning in my head. So many things were left unsaid. It's hard to let you starting again.
Double kill.
Time began to burn like a startling sign that fate had finally found me, and your voice was all I heard. That I get what I deserve, so give me reason to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the thoughts cross the distance in your eyes. Give me reason to fill this hole, connect the space between. Let it be enough to reach the truth that lies across this new divide. There was nothing in sight but memories left abandoned. There was nowhere to hide, the ashes fell like snow, and the ground caved in between where we were standing, and your voice was all I heard. That I get what I deserve, so give me reason to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the thoughts cross the distance in your eyes across this new divide. In every loss, in every lie, in every truth that you deny, and each regret and each goodbye was a mistake to break too high, and your voice was all I heard. That I get what I deserve, so give me reason to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the thoughts cross the distance in your eyes. Give me reason to fill this hole, connect the space between. Let it be enough to reach the truth that lies across this new divide. Across this new divide. Across this new divide.
Your team has destroyed the turret.
And whatever pain may come, today this ends. I'm forgiving what I've done. I'll face myself to cross out what I've become. Erase myself and let go of what I've It starts with
one thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you tried. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on to didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard
and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
one thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to remind myself how I tried so hard. In spite of the way you were mocking me, acting like I was part of your property, remembering all the times you fought with me, I'm surprised it got so. Things aren't the way they were before. You wouldn't even recognize me anymore. Not that you knew me back then, but it all comes back to me in the end. You kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard
and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I put my trust in you, pushed as far as I can go. For all this, there's only one thing you should know. I've put my trust in you, pushed as far as I can go. For all this, there's only one thing you should know. I tried so hard and got so far. was missing. You were so scared, but no one would listen, 'cause no one else cared. After my dreaming, I woke with this fear. What am I leaving when I'm done here? So if you're asking me, I want you to know, when my time comes, forget the one that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. And don't resent me. And when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Don't be afraid of taking my beating. I've shed, but I'm me. I'm strong on the surface, not all the way through. I've never been perfect, but neither have you. So if you're asking me, I want you to know, when my time comes, forget the wrong that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me. And when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Forgetting all the hurt inside you've learned you had so well. Pretending someone else can come and save me from myself. I can't be who you are. When my time comes, forget the wrong that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me. And when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Forgetting all the hurt inside you've learned you had so well. Pretending someone else can come and save me from myself. I can't be who you are. I can't be who you are.
Double kill. Shut down. Enemy double kill.
URF rồi à? Đâu đã có đâu. Đánh thường hay đánh gì vậy?
First item spike be hit for NIP. What point is it that NIP can really utilize these early spikes when they get, do they need 2 items on all of their carries, or can they just go with 1 or 1.5 and try and force Fnatic to fight?
So NIP can easily force a fight when Shook is completing an item. The Cinderhulk is already good to go. So I feel like, depending on what he goes for, I'm expecting a Righteous Glory or maybe a Knight's Vow to come out from him second. Once that is done, NIP are good to make fights happen, but you might not have the damage. It depends on the gap between you and your opposition. Now, if Nagne and Hikyu complete, let's say, a BF Sword and a Morellonomicon, whereas Caps and Reckless are still on their components, best not to fight. That is a great opportunity to fight, because you know you're going to have that slight item advantage. You know your champions are a little bit stronger at that point in the game. But if you're both on even items, then it's a bit of a risk. So it's very much about tracking the items and seeing what has been completed for either side before you really try and force a fight.
Alongside that, you can look at kills for gold and towers for gold, but you also have to look at CS for gold. And Prophet has a 20 farm lead in that top lane. Reckless had a small CS advantage in the AD carry role, but that's equalized out as NIP have spent a little bit more time down in that bottom lane as a duo.
The thing about Kled up in the top lane, one thing that we heard from North American teams when they did come over to Europe was that Kled has value at all points in the game. Because of his ultimate, because of his trading power, just because of who he is as a champion, he's always going to be useful even if he falls behind. So the fact that he's at a deficit right now is not the biggest end of the world for Fnatic, because he will be able to contribute later into the game, even at a deficit. And I think that's the core thing to take away from Soaz. As long as he can hold on to this tower as long as possible, and if Fnatic can get that bot tower in exchange, then Soaz has done his job. It's just very much now that Soaz, or Fnatic rather, still need to support a little bit more around Soaz, because they do not want to lose that first tower if they can avoid it.
Once again, Caps gets harassed. The shockwave doesn't quite connect, unless Nagne was just going for that minion. You never know. Makes the CSing easier in that middle lane. And for the time being, Caps is able to keep himself alive. Does have his flash back up, and Nagne does not have his. So we'll see if perhaps Broxer decides that mid lane is ripe for a gank once again.
But look at the difference in vision, Matic. You can see all across the top side. Look at all of these control wards and deep blue wards that have been set up by Shook and Prophet and the roaming Spraddle from earlier on. They are littering this top side of the map because they are fully aware that Brox is going to come soon to try and defend this tower, and they want to make sure the Prophet has the knowledge to allow him to just keep pushing while both Hikyu and Spraddle keep defending their tower in the bottom lane. The Dragon is going to be spawning in about 2 minutes, and I imagine that'll be a big point of contention for both these teams.
It's a second Ocean, of course. Strong, as we mentioned earlier. The quicker you get it in a game, and Fnatic are looking to try and react to this top lane pressure by bringing 4 members down to the bottom side. Not going to go for the engage just quite yet. NIP do, of course, have the Alistair there, and they've got Shook there as well, 2 strong tanks who can lock you up underneath the tower if you go for the dive.
There's always the risk, right? Like, as you rightly said, you don't want to try and force something that isn't guaranteed to go in your favor. Prophet has the TP. If Soaz TP'd in, he'd be at a health disadvantage. So there's that additional risk too. And Alistair, Sejuani, there's a lot of crowd control, a lot of disengage, the Tristana ultimate too. Best not risk it, but they had to try and make a play onto that tower because they knew that top lane was going to go down. They want to try and make the trade down bot. And unfortunately for Fnatic, they were unable to do so. So NIP, they've gotten themselves an early lead without the use of snowballing from ganks from Shook. They haven't relied on trying to find these early picks to translate into a big CS or big gold advantage.
And it's a 2,000 gold lead at the 15-minute mark, Vedius. If this was Fnatic, we'd say they were rolling away with the game. NIP now, a strong gold lead, first tower, a big top laner. This is looking very good for NIP.
Oh, it is. But remember what we talked about in terms of item spikes, how they're a good indicator of when a team is likely to fight. Morellonomicon has been completed for Nagne, along with the Nash's Tooth for Caps. So To give a bit of context on that, if anyone hasn't seen Azir for a while, this is now the best first item to rush because the attack speed that it gives you, along with the 20% early cooldown reduction. Both stats extremely valuable on a champion like Azir, and it gives you 80 ability power. So, sure, you don't have the same level of AP as the Morellonomicon, but the added attack speed better synergizes with your kit, which makes up for that loss of DPS.
But you promised me team fights, Vedius.
Yeah.
You said to me, Medic, you're going to have to shout a lot. I've yet to shout this game, and I'm getting disappointed
but
here,
I also
Vedius,
said
because you promised me team fights.
I also promised you 2 late game teams. Those early focus is just going to be on farming, leveling up, completing items, and the 2 item spikes is where I promised you team fights. And we're not there just yet, but we're very quickly edging that way.
There we are. Prophet's finished his Black Cleaver, a Morellonomicon for Nagne to answer that Nash's Tooth. I have had an update from my stats team. Remember earlier on I said that in the last 4 weeks, NIP, when they have had a gold lead at the 15-minute mark, have had a win. That is a 100% record for them. 3 gold leads at 15 minutes and 3 wins. Will this be their 4th? Well, Fnatic say no as they once again bring Broxah and Caps down towards this bottom side. They have a couple of man advantage, but Prophet does have teleport if NIP want to fight around this Ocean Dragon.
So looking at some of the map setup right now, the problem is for Fnatic is that NIP, they have push in mids. Orianna building a healthy CS lead, feeling very strong right now. 4 stacks of the Dark Seal as well, something that's always important to take into consideration. There's pressure up top, which makes it even easier for Prophet to TP into these lanes too. And Tristana, yet to complete the Infinity Edge, but does still have the pushing advantage in the 2 versus 2 lanes. So NIP, they have strong laners that got a bit of an early lead thanks to a few misplays from Caps that have allowed right now NIP to have control. And this is giving them priority around these big objectives like Drake, but so far not the Rift Herald, which, given the amount of pressure the Prophet's putting in the top lane, that could be a big objective for them to play around, but their focus is on the bottom side.
We're looking for the 2nd Ocean Drake. Broxah is in the vicinity. Pops the Scryer's Bloom. We'll get just a sneaky vision on towards Shook, and perhaps we'll look for the steal. Sprattle can knock him away.
Sao không ôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến? Sao không hôn anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến? Sao không vui lên như một thời bao thương mến? Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền? Ta chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, biến đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Ra đi em phải thật vui lên nhé, em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế, không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế, mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế, đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. No, 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 no. Oh, baby, 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 baby. Oh. Sao không ôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến, sao không hôn anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến, sao không vui lên như một thời bao thương mến, màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chưa thấy nhau khi tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, biến đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Ra đi em phải thật vui lên nhé, em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế, không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế, mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế, đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. No, ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Oh, baby, 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 baby. Oh. Sao không ôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến, sao không hôn anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến, sao không vui lên như một thời bao thương mến, màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Ra đi em phải thật vui lên nhé, em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế. Không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế, mình hãy quên đi bao câu thẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế, đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. No, ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Yeah. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, 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 no. Oh, baby, 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 baby. Oh. Sao không ôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến, sao không hôn anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến, sao không vui lên như một thời bao thương mến. Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em.
ra đi em phải thật vui lên nhé. Em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế. Không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế. Mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế. Đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. No,
ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Yeah.
ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Oh, baby, 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 baby. Oh, oh, oh.
Sao không ôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến? Sao không hôn anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến? Sao không vui lên như một thời bao thương mến? Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền? Ta chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em.
Ra đi em phải thật vui lên nhé. Em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế. Không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế. Mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế. Đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. No.
Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Yeah.
Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. lưu luyến. Sao không vui lên như một thời bao thương mến. Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm. Mai em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm. Mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả. Và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi. Tiến đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Ra đi em phải thật vui lên nhé. Em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế. Không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế. Mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau anh nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. Ba lần qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế. Đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối đó. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả. Và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi. Tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Yeah. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, 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 no. Oh, baby, 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 baby. Oh. Sao không ôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến. Sao không hôn anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến. Sao không vui lên như một thời bao thương mến. Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm. Mai em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm. Mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả. Và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi. Tiến đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế. Không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế. Mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thất lễ. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế. Đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. No.
Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Yeah.
Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Oh, baby, 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 baby. Oh.
Sao không ôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến? Sao không hôn anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến? Sao không vui lên như một thời bao thương mến? Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền? Ta chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm. Mai em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm. Mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em.
Thật vui lên nhé. Em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế. Không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế. Mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế. Đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. No.
Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Yeah.
Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Oh, baby, 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 baby. Sao không ôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến? Sao không hôn anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến? Sao không vui lên như một thời bao thương mến? Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền? Ta chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Ra đi em phải thật vui lên nhé, em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế, không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế, mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not that big of a deal that we lost to Rocket mentally. However, now that they're losing to NIP, that might be very bitter.
Now it's turning into a bigger mental blow. Good thing we had that Telestrator segment about how Fnatic is crushing it in every category. That is a caster curse if I have ever seen one. But let's take a look at how both teams approach this game, and especially Fnatic, because their manager, Quay, he tweeted, well, the best way to approach these games that don't matter is trying new things, but not trolling. And we will see that reflected in the draft as well. We saw for 3 of the members, the first champion picks of this year for them. And you guys were discussing about the 2 compositions, especially for NIP. It's good that they take something that is easy or simple to execute, right? So you're differing in opinion on what exactly was easier to execute.
Well, we had a long discussion on how the team fight can start and how you end up playing it out. In my opinion, Tristana, and I think you agree with me, is way easier to play in a team fight than a Xayah. And I think that's one thing that we'll get to replace in a little bit, that we end up seeing really work for NIP.
Correct. I think the real deal here is that Fnatic has to win team fights by isolating Orianna. And hopefully find Orianna when she doesn't have flash with the Jarvan, follow up with the Glad ult, which is pretty difficult to get to her if she's actually like, she's the only target in her team that can get flashed on by Jarvan, because Tristana can't be jumped on, Lark can't be jumped on, so Orianna just has to be really careful, and if he recognizes that, which he did because he didn't get ulted by Jarvan in every team fight, then it's pretty easy for NIP to just execute their team fight.
And I think that's where the difficulty of Fnatic ends up being in the execution, is they basically are relying on Broxah to engage at all points, and Broxah, he builds tanky, he set himself items, but you look at the other members of the team that ended up trying to engage. Soaz tries to get the flanks. We saw Caps attempt on the Azir a few times to get the engage, and it's not necessarily their job as such, and it's very difficult to actually get those engages to work against what NIP to bring to the table.
I'd also love to get your opinion on Azir. We did see the W buff at 7.15, but we have seen him arise a bit more. Senkux just picked him last week as well. What is the verdict on the viability of Azir, Jerry?
I think Azir is not tier 1, but he is viable. He's pretty good against some of the new supports, like Alistar is very prominent, against which Azir is very good. And also some of the tanks, like Maokai, is very difficult to play against Azir, so that's why we're seeing more of him.
I think one thing that makes Azir a little more difficult than the last time we saw Azir in the meta is last time Rylai's was super strong, you just go Rylai's matches and you would take over every team fight because nobody could ever get close to you at all. Rylai's got nerfed, Azir has some difficult matchups, and you saw later on, like, Caps had damage, but wasn't confident moving forward enough because the rest of his team wasn't providing quite that front line. So Azir does still have a place against tanks specifically. It's just a little less easy as when Azir could just slow everybody for a million years.
A lot of talk about the compositions. Let's see them in action. Let's take a look at a couple of team fights. We've seen in the last couple of weeks that NIP's early game had deteriorated, but they were closing out games better. However, in this game, they also start out really well.
Yeah, this is one of the ways that NIP end up playing the mid game quite well, and Fnatic play into their hands. Caps gets picked off, and this results in the Baron attempt out of NIP, which gets stolen away. But it's these kind of plays which meant Fnatic really struggled, and Shook actually capitalized on that kind of play where he's starting the fight, catching out Caps. Fnatic just didn't seem prepared for it.
No, they didn't. NIP do pull out that early Baron call. I don't think that was a wrong call per se, but it is quite difficult to execute. They keep winning fights. Do you think, Joey, that the fact that from Fnatic, they said they tried new things? Of course, Caps first time on Azir. For instance, Xayah the first time for Reckless. Do you think that was kind of to blame for the fact that Fnatic didn't seem as comfortable in the map rotations and in the engages?
No, I don't think they're playing anything that they haven't practiced or that isn't viable. And I know that Caps has played more Azir in solo queue and in scrims, and Reckless has played a lot of Xayah in solo queue throughout the split. They just had a very difficult to execute team composition, and we just saw a clip where they made a very fatal mistake because they got caught in a moment where both their bot lane and their top lane were pushed into their towers. So if you get caught at that moment, you're going to lose a lot. And NIP had a really very simple opportunity to just get the Baron for free if they wanted to use Alistar to headbutt the Jarvan away, or they could have just chosen to recall and just get vision everywhere on the map because they had the opportunity to do that and just control the game very slowly. However, the Baron steal was the only reason that kept them in the game.
Yeah, Broxa, hero move, he steals it. Fnatic, they swing it back in their favor a little bit. Was NIP knew that they had the upper hand in the team fights, and when those came along, they were able to pull the trigger.
Exactly, and it's Hikyu's good positioning in a couple of team fights that we really want to highlight. A lot of it is Fnatic reaching for engages. As we look at the next replay, it's the fight that happened in the jungle around the red buff. And Joey, I know you were impressed by Hikyu, specifically in this fight.
Yeah, so it starts off with Jarvan not finding Orianna, which is exactly what NIP wants. And then we can see Hikyu just jumping over the wall in a second, finding a really good angle to shoot everyone from, and then he can keep jumping and he just gets kill after kill after kill because no one can touch him.
And importantly, he manages to shut down Reckless as well. Nice ult comes from Prophet, who had a good game on Gnar. As you said, early on in the fight, the flash out from Orianna is so key because it then soaks Fnatic into the rest of the fight. And this is where Tristana is just so much easier because you have the rocket jump to reset. And we saw exactly the same thing happen again. NIP actually secure this Elder Drake, and then it looks like Hikyu is in a lot of trouble once he kites up the ramp. But the first kill of the fight, I believe, gives him that first reset to be able to get into a safe position and end up taking the fight. I think this is the kind of game that means Hikyu, through the promotion tournament, probably not getting his hands on Tristana.
Well, even if they lose a series in the end for NIP, Joey, NIP is going to the promotion tournament, and a win like this, which is now their 6th game win of the split, they must try and take something from that because these compositions work for them and they know that they can beat top teams. So it must give them confidence.
Yeah, the drafts are solid. The early game looked really fine. They were playing to their win condition. And they make a few mistakes here and there, but it looks like they are better than the relegation team.
Now, we were very harsh on G2 when you guys didn't manage to beat Roccat, so do we have any foregone conclusions about Fnatic?
No, I don't think there are any foregone conclusions. I think it's a small excuse to say they've locked first place. You still expect Fnatic to beat NIP. I still expect them to come back 2-1. If they don't, I would be very surprised.
Well, we will see what happens. The Ninjas in Pajamas, they are looking to end the split with a great win against Fnatic. We'll see if they can close it out when we return.
Fnatic on the best run since summer 2015, and Quick brings them back, and Nogne's still alive. Roxa tanks off a couple of tower shots, but Jezzes will get knocked up by Spraddle. He helps 2,000 HP, so as jumps in, so does Roxa. 1,000, the Buster steals it, and Fnatic, he's going to do so much damage in this fight. Prophet with the Gnar into the wall, and Hikyu gets one, he's looking for more. Reckless still alive, but now he's dead. It's a triple for Hikyu. Can he get the Pentas? Fuck, man. Trapper Soez is all by himself. The Elder Drake. Oh, shit, you stole it away, and NIP are going to take the fight as well. Hikyu is on a rampage. He's on the warpath. NIP will collapse onto Fnatic. They'll take the win. They'll take the kills, and they will take the Nexus as well. NIP defeat the old Kings and go 1-0 up. to this series between Ninjas in Pajamas and Fnatic. NIP surprisingly have a 1-0 lead, Vedius, and are looking to complete the upset with a win in game 2. Fnatic, trying to fight back, have selected the blue side. No surprises there.
I always believed in the Medic. Ever since the start of the series, I said NIP 2-0 Fnatic. It's difficult to challenge that, you know, when you have no video evidence or any of the like, but also with the performance that we saw from NIP. Exceptional laning phase, the fact that Nagne got a solo kill onto Caps, the way in which they executed a lot of those team fights. A lot of impressive things happened, but you have to have the caveat that Fnatic did try a few new things. A lot of them were on champions that they're not used to, and I feel like that we saw an essence of that from some of them.
I agree, but they were also trying things that are relatively meta. It wasn't too far out of the book. It's not like a Heimerdinger mid or something crazy. It was picks that we expect to see, apart from perhaps the Azir. And Fnatic should be expected to be able to play at their highest standard. We said it in the game, if you can't beat the team that have gone 1-10, you're struggling.
Yes, that is a valid observation. And looking into game 2 now, I wonder how Fnatic will adapt. Will they stick to what they tried in game 1? Will they just say, you know what, we played bad, we can play better, let's keep going with this different set of champions that we know are not right now in our wheelhouse, but we really want to add them to our pool to fall back on them a little bit later? Or do they say, you know what, we want to win. We do not want to lose to the 1-11 team. We do not wish to join Rocket to be alongside the team that has only lost to NIP this split. And maybe they go back to Comfort. Maybe we see Caps on something more like the Orianna, maybe the Kane. Maybe we see, hopefully for them, I'm sure they want to get their hands on the Gragas again with Roxa, something that he's had a lot of success and comfort with not too long ago. And maybe they go back to that Comfort.
I agree with you that perhaps going back to Comfort would be better for them. I think we can all agree that Fnatic seem like very competitive players as well. They will want to win. They'll want to do their fans proud as well, who've all come here to watch them beat NIP this week and watch them beat G2 later in the week as well. Have to remember that match is coming up on Saturday. It's going to be a very big one, even though Fnatic have secured that first spot in the standings. We're going to get into Champion Select. Fnatic on the blue side, as we said, and we're not going to see Caps on the Orianna Vedius because it has been removed by Fnatic themselves.
Respect going towards Nagne. Fnatic realized that NIP are forced into the red side bans of Caitlyn, Kalista, and Zac has been the recent adaptation, and usually the blue side will always ban away the Elise because that is not what their eyes are on first picking. It could be so for Broxah, at least even after a few minor nerfs that she has received, still considered a very strong jungler because she is still one of the best at setting up early leads and early snowballs. And it is something that Broxah made a bit of a name for himself on alongside Lee Sin upon his arrival in the LCS, so I'm sure he'd be happy to get his hands on it if it was free to do so.
And I'd like to see Fnatic have a bit more of that early game impact. They were behind NIP at that 15-minute mark, and NIP continue their 100% win record when they are ahead at 15 minutes in the latter half of this split. More respect from Fnatic towards Sprattle, specifically from the NIP with the Alistair ban. And it's a Caitlyn ban from NIP.
Jarvan being banned away, this forces Ninjas into a bit of a tricky situation. Do they ban away the Kalista to give Elise and Thresh over to Fnatic, or do they ban away the Elise, giving away the Kalista to Fnatic? I feel like banning away the Kalista makes the most sense. Reckless is an individual that, even if he plays a champion for the first time, still pretty good at it. And what we saw from Kianen's performance earlier on in the day, I feel like that is not a champion you want to afford to give away.
Purely from the numbers, giving Fnatic Kalista is not a bad thing. They have played one game on it, and they lost that game. So perhaps NIP are in the minds of Fnatic. They do ban out the LeBlanc instead, which will give the Elise across to Fnatic, but this opens up a world of opportunities for NIP.
I think it does. This will give them the Kalista, and they have a wealth of options here. You can go for the Alistair, you can go for the Rakan. My apologies, Alistair has been banned away, but it does raise the value of Kalista and Rakan, especially. Thresh as well is another great combo. Right now, Kalista is just such a great AD carry that pairs so well with a bunch of different supports that locking it in is definitely a safe thing to do, especially after Hiku's great performance. But now you're looking at Fnatic going for something like a Tristana themselves, because it is a great answer to the Kalista, and is one of the few AD carries that have been left available.
See, Fnatic really prioritizing that at least 100% win rate for Broxah on it across the course of the split. There's going to be a Gnar here for Profit in the top lane, so no Thresh lock here for NIP. They've left that support pool a little bit more open as Fnatic get to their second set of picks.
Thing is, if you go for an early Thresh, that runs the risk of enemy Fnatic going for a Tristana Braum or a Tristana Tahm Kench, which means that you can't get that same level of early snowball that you typically want from a Kalista lane. Therefore, they're holding onto it for a little while. They want to see what gets locked in, and then that can they can pivot on where they go with their support choices. So I think if Fnatic locked in a Braum now, you're very likely to see something like the Rakan come out from the side of NIP.
Fnatic have a track record as well of holding their top lane pick until later on in the draft. They have a 100% top lane counter rate, and once again that will be enacted in this game, as we see already the top lane for NIP. It's going to be a Cassiopeia who caps in the mid lane, we expect. Could of course go tops. Last time we saw that out of Fnatic, it was Huni playing it in that 2015 summer split.
I'm expecting it to be in the middle lane. If it is locked in, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Talia come out from Nagnate. Azir is a fine matchup into it as well. A little bit risky, of course, because the early weaknesses that Azir does have. Instead, Nagnate shifting his priorities onto one of the more powerful mid laners that we have in the game, in the current meta. Syndra, very, very potent. And now we're looking at a lot of support bans from Fnatic. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few from Ninjas in Pyjamas as well. But alternatively, they could look to ban away things like the Camille, who does relatively well into the Gnar. And they may even choose to ban away the Kled, but it wasn't that much of a threat in game one.
Have to wait and see. A little bit of different composition from both of these teams coming into the second ban phase. Is a Thresh taken away from Fnatic as he predicted. Alongside that, NIP removed Camille also out of that top lane.
Just thinking about some of the additional supports that are available. Again, like looking at things like the Rakan. The other one is the possibility of a cannon. But you really want to be careful about when you pick the cannon up with the Kalista, because it is a very powerful all-in lane in the bottom lane, but into certain matchups it can be a little difficult. Like Janna will make a cannon's life hell. So you want to make sure that you don't just blind pick it, and it will make things a little more difficult. But Ninjas, I'm sure they'd be very comfortable locking in their jungler right now. They could go for the Kayn is still available. It was banned in game one. It was something that Shook brought out against Misfits, and they were able to get a win on that champion. Alternatively, they could just go for the Sejuani once again. Have that front line. Have someone who can soak up the damage and act as a tank. And I'm super surprised that we haven't talked about it at all. Gragas is something that we thought would have a lot of priority in this game, but we were so distracted because of the early priority on the Elise from the side of Fnatic.
And it gets through the second ban phase as well, because Fnatic put that support focus, and now we'll see Fnatic having to pick their own support and NIP having the support counter to round it out. It's so important for Fnatic to have a strong bot lane, because Jezus, we praised him at the start of the last game, but he ended up going 0-7-4 on that Thresh in game one.
So he had a great early game, but his later game impact significantly less. To see if he can change that with the Braum now. Very much what we expected in our discussions. And when you look at some of the top lanes available, wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Kled again. But maybe they want something a little bit more early game to pair it with the Elise to try and have that early dive potential. But you're kind of limited in terms of your options. Cho'Gath is a possibility. Rumble is another option. Will look like that will be the additional threat. There is a lot of AP right now on the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, Elise, Cassiopeia, and the Rumble. Usually Rumble picked. You have more AD coming out from the rest of your team. NIP have a few options here for support. Could go for the Janna themselves if they want a bit of disengage. Could, of course, go for the Lulu as well. These more utility supports rather than the melee engage supports we tend to see.
With Uncensored on the rise, Lulu and Janna have become more popular support picks. Here in Europe, we've favored more towards the Janna, but this will be picked up by Spraddle in the bottom lane. Provides a good amount of peel, synergizes fairly well with the Kalista, can't fully utilize the ultimate as effectively as a melee support could, but because of the range advantages that you have, it means that you can bully around this Tristana and Braum during the laning phase, especially once you get a few levels under your belt.
So once again, NIP with the bullying bottom lane. We saw it with the Tristana in the last game. They were able to push up Fnatic. Compositionally, Fnatic seem to have a bit of scaling and a bit of early game. NIP going for a similar but slightly different composition from the last game. What are these teams looking to do?
I think for NIP, they're much more focused now on getting an early lead compared to what we saw last game. They had a Triss before, now they have a Kalista. Late into the game, Kalista can still do damage, but from a relative standpoint, Triss is going to do a lot more. So you want to try and get an early lead, hit that 2-item spike, force a snowball, pair that up with the Syndra 2 who excels around the 2-3 items as well, and you want to try and run away with things using these 2 carries from Hikyu and Nagni, whereas Fnatic, they're more than happy to scale into the late game. They have early threat from the Elise, but it doesn't matter if they aren't able to quite get that early snowball. Elise is mainly there to shut down the early snowball attempts from the side of NIP.
Once again, we're going to get onto the Summoners with Fnatic looking to maintain their single defeat across the split. NIP looking to improve their single win across the summer split. It is the last game of the split for NIP. Fnatic have one more foe to face after this, and that will be G2 on Saturday.
And it's very convenient that in game 1 we talked about how conventionally Fnatic struggle against the bottom tier teams, whereas they have much better performance and steady gold advantages when they go up against the top teams. And we discussed, could that be due to a lack of respect? Maybe it's just because they don't anticipate what the non-playoff teams will be able to pull off. It could be also that they show them too much respect, and as a result, they end up giving them a lot of advantages. There are a lot of possibilities, but in game 1, what we saw was, I feel, just a slight failure in execution on the side of Fnatic, along with NIP effectively playing the champions very, very well. Like Nagne landing a lot of great shockwaves, Hikyu's positioning was always on point, Prophet had fantastic ultimates, and he utilized a combination of split pushing and team fighting, which is great for NIP, given that one of our main narratives in the majority of the split was maybe just let Prophet split push to victory. So it's nice to see this kind of evolution from the team.
And it's an evolution we've seen across the last few weeks as well, especially from Prophet. He's getting so much more involved with his team, and although he could split push in the last game, his real power came down to when he was landing those 4-man Nars in fights, when he was helping the team in the team fights later on. Fnatic are going to start at the red. No super leash for them, just going to secure that first Bramble back for Roxa. Meanwhile, NIP, Shook will start over to his blue side, allowing both these junglers to get a big camp to start them off.
So, not too long ago, Soaz Rumble had a few nerfs to cool down on his Flame Spitter, which meant that early pushing and early trading, not as strong, but still exists. Which means that when you're going up against the Gnar, you can actually push it. It's something that you want to be mindful of when you're a jungler. So what you'll see is Shook started bot side along with Roxa. Shook is very mindful of the fact that Prophet could push in, he could overextend, and he wants to make sure that he's there so that he can help his top laner in the event that a 2 versus 2 breaks out, or to just zone Roxa away from any potential. That's why he's decided to start bot side, and I expect him to move towards the river or the top side of the map just to get a bit of vision down along with Prophet. Putting a good river ward in there, also showing respect for this early game focus.
Speaking of zone control, Cap's got control of the mid lane, and it's allowed him to place a ward at the Razor Beaks, which means Fnatic know that Shook has gone straight to his red buff and then up towards the cross as well. Box has gone for a little invade, but meanwhile in the bottom lane, Hikyu's being jumped on. Ignite comes down, concussive blows as well, and this might be first blood for Fnatic. Reckless jumps in once again, Hikyu punches away, but it's a kill for Fnatic. Jezis secures that one.
Level 2 power spike for Fnatic. Utilizing the passive from Jez's along with the early burst power from Reckless of the explosive shot, or the E, I forget the name.
Explosive shot is right.
Wonderful. But that was fantastic from Fnatic, fully understanding the strength of their 2 versus 2 and just punishing one of the reasons why Lulu fell out of the meta. She had a nerf to her base HP, she's super squishy in the early game. One of the reasons why people were picking so much thresh into her was because you could just all in. And that's exactly what they did. Sprado could do very little. Results in keep falling behind, and this is very detrimental to NIP, whose main focus in the early game is to try and get Hikyu and Nagne ahead.
Instead of mixing bounds, we thought Hikyu and Sprossel would have the advantage in that lane, be able to force back Jez's and Reckless, but only 2 power spike means they have a CS lead, a double dagger for Reckless as well, who's got attack speed stacking up, and they can look to force Hikyu and Sprossel back. Only a flash left on the Lulu. No other summoners for NIP in the bottom lane, and perhaps that would even spell a Boxer gank down towards that bottom side. Elise very good at tower diving.
Oh, she certainly is. Would not be a bad thing for Fnatic to invest in the bottom side of the map. Try and get Reckless ahead on this Tristana. Cassio exerting a lot of dominance in the laning phase. You can already see CS advantages building across the board. Prophet not wanting to try and push too hard, showing a lot of caution towards this Elise. Does not want to risk giving away any early kills. And while there is a big minion wave stacking up, he'll close that gap a fair amount. Fnatic already off to a phenomenal start, only 5 minutes into the game.
And one of the members of NIP that we highlighted in the first game was EQ. He went unkilled throughout the entire course of the game and was able to push Reckless and Jez's back in this lane. He just played it incredibly well. Look at it, 12 kills, no deaths at all. And now we're going to start to see the converse of that coin. We're going to start to see why Reckless is respected as one of the best AD carries in the West, because even off a loss, he's able to make these early aggressive plays and secure a lead for his team in the lane.
Well, now they're looking to extend that lead with Broxah hanging around. You called it earlier, Medic. The possibility of a investment from Broxah down to the bottom side. His flash is down for the time being.
But he has snuck into this bush, but you see how safe NIP are playing. You set up towards the top side. Prophet is standing back from Soaz because of the possibility of this gank. Sprossel and Hiku are standing so far back because they know they have no summoners and they know Broxah is a very strong early jungler. Has yet to lose a game on this Elise across the split. And the reason for that is because he's so good at setting up early ganks and early kills.
This is resulting just the pressure of Broxah, the aura that he brings by playing this champion is resulting in these CS deficits happening across the board. NIP being forced back. They wanted to play towards the win conditions of getting early advantages. But right now, things definitely not going the way they want. Nagne now hitting level 6. This will help him a lot in the 1 versus 1. And notice how much he's playing towards the top side of his lane. That's where the vision exists. They know the Broxah is not on the top side of the jungle, so Nagne doesn't want to venture down towards that bottom side. Again, due to the possible risk again.
But even after early aggression from Caps, Nagne is able to equalize this lane out. Has got the cleanse to keep himself a little bit safer in the lane, but we saw this in game 1 as well. Nagne actually was able to get Caps' number, especially in the laning phase. Something we don't always expect from Caps, who is known as a very strong, mechanical laner.
I think a bit of disrespect being shown last game, but Nagne showing a lot this game.
Unleash power onto Caps. Shook is just around the corner. Does not have 6. Broxah nowhere near. Caps will be able to retreat away. Did burn barrier, but did not have to use his flash.
Nagne was able to get the barrier out. Now Caps still actually very low on HP. Stun lands.
Nagne won't be able to get enough damage down with that Dark Spear. NIP have looked good in the early games, a few of these games, Medius, and you have to think about the teams they're going to face in the next couple of weeks as well. The challenger lineups of Schalke and Giants and Mysterious Monkeys as well from Group B. If NIP continue to play like that first game, these other teams will be very, very concerned.
Yeah, it's one of those things where every split, the casters who cover Challenger are always like, oh, these Challenger teams, yeah, ace, 10 out of 10. They look amazing. They're going to dumpster the bottom LCS teams. No way will they be able to challenge. And last split, I feel was the only time where that actually came to fruition, because time and time again, the experience that you gain from playing on an LCS stage and playing against the best teams in Europe just has so much value that even if you're at the bottom of the LCS, you're still able to challenge the top of Challenger.
You have to remember, last split was the first time I cast Challenger as well, so maybe it's just better analysts in the Challenger series who are predicting
the quality
these things
of
now.
our predicting skills has just reached a new level. But there'll be plenty of time to talk about the Challenger teams as the quarterfinals will begin next week, along with the promotion tournament.
That it will. Going to be some incredible games across the next few weeks, of course, culminating in Paris as well for those finals and the 3rd place match. I want to look at item builds here for a second, Betty, as Caps has gone back. He's picked up his tier and his catalyst of Aeons. We talked about scaling in picks and bans. He's starting to get that scaling ball rolling on this Cassiopeia.
It's a good back there from Caps, being able to pick up both those. One of the interesting things about Cassiopeia is for a champion that builds as the first few things, she does a lot of damage. You know, like if you're playing like a Lux or an Anivia and they go tier, you sit there and think, don't worry about that. Like, they're not going to be any real threat. I still have pressure in the lane. But Cassio, it's just because of the speed of which that she can damage you with the low cooldown and the poison ticks that do bonus damage, that she's able to trade so effectively with very few AP, which is why she does so much damage in the later game, as we see another dive now setting up the bottom.
Fnatic love this 4-man dive towards the bottom lane. Face Call will pull back Spartle. They're underneath the tower. They still have exhaust. Spartle is not 6, so the teleport's coming in as well. Fnatic going for the 5-man dive, and they will get 1. They're looking for 2. That's a double for Caps, and should be a tower for Fnatic as well.
And Fnatic continuing to shut down this Lulu. Such great understanding of the weaknesses of this champion, and a champion like Kalista that wants to try and snowball is being prevented from doing so because Lulu cannot support it. Every opportunity Fnatic are trying to go all in, all in, all in, and they are succeeding time and time again.
And so much of it comes back to how well Reckless and Jezz played that level 2. They had a level advantage on Spartle. They were able to go aggressive. Shook will be able to just back away here, but coming back to that bottom lane, there's now a 30 CS lead for Reckless over HeQ, and we said HeQ stepped up in the last game. Reckless has shown that he can step up in this one.
And look at the vision setup that you can see from Fnatic prior to this exchange. 3 control wards in the river, plenty of little blue wards set up at the entrances to the jungle. They know exactly where NIP is. They know they can make this run down to the bottom side of the map. They can very easily pick up 2 kills. They even are able to, they use the TP from Soaz, they realize they don't need it, Prophet isn't able to match it. Everything is just so beautifully executed by the team.
NIP will get the return for the 2nd time in the series. We saw them use it mid last time, got a chunk of damage on the tower. Fnatic will secure Dragon, though it is a mountain, which they'll be very happy with early on, especially with the castle interest. Even easier for
He's been completely zoned away from the lane. Man, they can just run up to this using Reckless as the main siege tool. This is now down to 3rd or 8th HP. You can see the difference when they're able to get themselves those Caps is on something like that. Reckless on the Tristan, Roxa on the Elise. They certainly have not played the champion never before. Bad sentence.
It's alright, I will correct it for you, Veddy, it's fine. That's why we have a team here. A lot more experience with so it's actually not played Rumble yet. This split up for the first time, and he's played a great job. A lot of his history, yeah. This is something I wanted to come to. In the last game, Prophet was able to get a lead over Soaz in that top lane. We saw he took first power, and this game just hasn't been able to return to Soaz. Too much pressure from either of the junglers up there as well, so it seems to be much more of a matchup game, or perhaps Soaz just playing out of the well.
In the early game, very well. When you can start zoning away from the farm experience. But because of the presence of the Elise and the risk of the gank, Prophet played defensive. He actually went even. And when Soaz went back, got himself a lot of armor. That meant that the threat was lower. And really, Soaz had to do is keep pushing.
Damage is fine. Just a previous well, of course, that doesn't matter. Cassio wants to get the healing off the team and shot down the lane. You see it, he's come up towards the top side now. That bottom tower. Taking that tower, he's been able to extend that as a gold lead over NIP earlier as well.
Just a short hanging around the bottom.
The tower there, Soaz was split flash.
Going for a plan himself, using the defense to get back. They are aware that Nagne is capable of winning the first one, but if he gets forced back to the tower, that's an advantage that Fnatic is going to get secure themselves to tier 1, extend the goal even more.
Look at how strong this bot lane is. They have a 50 CS lead, 14 minute mark. They have a huge goal in front. Going out from Tristana and Jezz. We said we wanted to see Jezz step up. done that. Fnatic with the third tower of the game. NIP trying to answer in the bottom lane. Should be able to with this back line. Stars won't take it down too so NIP will answer with the structure of their own. And probably wants to answer with a little bit more. Soaz gets jumped on by Shook. Of course, he does not have the flash. NIP should be able to secure themselves their first kill of this matchup. Squadron's going to use the wild room to jump away. NIP will be safe in the top lane for the time being.
But pressure continues to mount from Fnatic. Taking down that mid-tier one is huge, even though NIP are able to answer. If they can get themselves this tier 2, this will be a good response from NIP, but a little bit more pressure.
And Shook, of course, doesn't have the flash, doesn't have the way down how they see Boxer in this bottom lane. Caps is slithering his way down through the river. He has flash, Shook does not. Body Slam will try and get the barrel slow, but he has the grounds in. The cocoon's going to land as well. And Shook should go down. Caps on a killing spree. 3-0 on the Cassiopeia.
Try and get that they overstayed their welcome a little bit because of the presence of Roxa, they weren't allowed back, so they could only walk away, allowing Caps to get the rotation, get the kill, and now we 3-0-0 on this Cass, who already completed the Rod of Ages. Just want to check how many stacks he had, only 2, but to get that earlier, the better.
And Fnatic's early game this game has been so much better than in the last game of the series. They have a 5,000 gold lead 15 minutes in. This is the Fnatic we expected to see in game 1. And sadly, this is the NIP we expected to see.
Back down to that 2 versus 2. Said it in the moment, we have to emphasize it. This is part of the reason why we fell out of competitive. She is super We have seen some over in America Picker as things like Janna, where it's not as easy to shut her down, but when you can send format with bot, you don't have the same skills as a Janna, you have the same level of heal. And so it becomes easy to all in, dive on her face, and if not kill you, so far, EQ has been the bot. Big guy is 7th time in game 1, already out in game 2.
Third time to be an AD carry. 2017, perhaps not their year, but Reckless is trying to do that as he continues to push in the top lane. This is the Fnatic we wanted to see, and part of this is their adaptability. Since Rift Rivals, they've been so much better at changing the way they play. It's not always about playing the animal style. It's not always about playing the meta they want to play. Rather, they adapt and they adjust to make sure that they can beat their opponents on that given series.
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot over the split of how Fnatic have evolved. We don't have time to talk about that because Bronze is spot quite loud.
Boom does land. Lulu is just so squishy. That's through an exhaust that Spartel is taken down to 1/3 HP. However, NIP with his Itsuki style once again, light a fire on the Lulu. Steal a Mountain Drake for yourselves.
Won't cost you an exhaust, so that was quite expensive fire. Because next time Broxah will just one-shot you. Expect that.
Oh, this is beautiful. Hiku doesn't even realize it's happening. And Broxah! KS!
That was actually a KS. Totally wanted the assist. He was like, wait. Let me just put it. So I can get a bit of extra gold there,
let me just hit him with my fangs.
Yeah, insta kill. So we can see here, no vision. Ripper's just going to jump over the wall. Hello there! I have a pumpkin for you, good sir. Fairly well.
It's not quite October, but already Halloween as a spooky Boxer jumps in and secures the kill for American. It just looks like Hiku wasn't quite reacting. Slightly off the wall. So, as comfortable as starting to show, but Mike is starting to work out where the cracks are in the NIP armor, utilizing them to great effect.
So you're getting to a point now where NIP, they kind of need a big mistake from Fnatic. Whether it be a bound throw, an overextend, a turret, someone warding by themselves. Something big has to happen for NIP because we talked about the scaling, we talked about how NIP's reliance is very much on getting a big lead. And right now they it's still relatively strong. Back. Move up mid, throw the Rumble ulti down, have the Siege Stunner. Things definitely looking bleak right now for the boys in pajamas.
An enemy has been
Six and Bands, we said, Fnatic are happy just to scale up. Well, they'll be very happy to have a strong early game as well. 2 items finished onto Reckless with the Static Shiv and the Infinity Edge complete, whereas he is still only Riley has completed his Morellonomicon, but once again, Caps an entire item ahead with the Rod of Ages and the Morello Quick itself. Seems to me that there may also be a point where the weakness in having too much AP comes back to bite them. You can build Locket of the Eye Solara, you can build full Mercury Treads. It's going to take a while, but NIP perhaps have a little bit of hope to hold on to.
Maybe, but how are you going to you got no gold? Now NIP, they can barely step into their own jungle. They're just taking the scraps of the farm that Fnatic is. While NIP for now hold onto their top side of the jungle. That's because Fnatic are grouped up there. They're not trying to fight over the vision. This is the big risk that we talked about.
The Baron throwing game 1 already, or Baron stolen away. Stolen away by Roxa, but then Shook to steal away the Elder Drake. So 1-for-1 steals. Sparsel once again in that front line. He needs to realise he's not playing Alistair this game. He's not as tanky as he was in the last. However, Nagne's still sitting in an okay position for this Syndra. But Alex have set up a good vision line here. Towards the NIP.
That they do. Looking across the aggregation open finish now. Morello is also Thank you.
Not allowed. Capsiopia is an awful putt.
When you said it,
I never said Capsiopia.
That's not fair! Trying to steal my puns and make them cool.
Okay, speaking of Capsiopia, in that middle lane, this is the sort of performance we expect from an MVP in the split. This is the sort of performance we expect from a player with the highest
Are you really getting an MVP ball?
Of course.
Nagne
jumps down with the equalizer and has to flash away from the electric arm. This is the problem with Nagne here. He's not in the field. He gets the damage. He's so far behind.
Here we go, Shook. This is your time. This is your moment.
Oh, baby, here we go. Profit split pushing as well with a Hitsuke! Hitsuke strategies! He's actually dead. You've actually died.
I said it earlier, I was like, well, maybe they can steal the Baron, right? Maybe it's a possibility. And then Shook walks in and he's like, what? Smite, I'm out.
This Baron because when Fnatic stole it, it was 6,500 again.
Alright, so we get the slow-mo. The smite comes in a little too early and then it gets them off. To secure the Baron. And, oh, okay, my mistakes were
He wanted it in smite. Yeah, Shook smiting. And then dropping. And Caps is like...
I see. Interesting. Yeah, so if they try to go to like now, those are snap
So Shook was not able to connect. There's a Callisto in the top lane, so pushing EQ's cosplaying his inner Reckless for the time being, as he is in a side lane, and we'll get a tower for NIP, closing that gold gap bit by bit. And Vedius, in game one, Fnatic didn't have an outright tank in the same way that NIP did, and once again, you look down their lineup and you look down especially Broxah's build, I'm struggling to find a pure tank coming out from Fnatic.
Yeah, there's no real front line aside from Jez's, who will naturally get tanked, especially once he completes the quest from his Targons. But aside from that, you're right, there's no real front line. And NIP, they do have the Gragas, they do have the Gnar, but it's always about that damage threat, right? When you have this many damage threats that have a lot of mobility and can threaten the backline, even without even diving onto them, that's something that you always have to respect as well. And sure, this Elise will fall off, but if she has like quantity, that would be dead Callisto.
He does have the one. He does have the polymorph as well.
Let's do
and
this.
Does have our favorite item in the game at the moment. Ardent Sensor, baby. I hate it.
Wait, is it called Ardent Sensor, baby?
Yeah, well, I blame this item for my demotion from Diamond 5. Because I'm a support man, right? And I refuse to play Ardent Sensor champions because I find them really boring. And then I lose 2 games with 0 LP, and I'm in Plat 1. And I know a lot of people feel my pain. I know it happens.
You can just run, is it Stoneborn Pact? Is that the...
Yeah, but I don't want to build the Ardent Sensor itself.
It's a good item. And with the argument using the boring champions, Trundle's not a boring champion.
That's true. Yeah. Trundle and Thresh. Perhaps I should just give in to the masses and build the Ardent Sensor as many supports have done before.
It's all about your perspective. Do you want to win?
No, I want to have fun.
See, that's your problem, right? You don't play ranked games to have fun, right? See? You don't play ranked to have fun. If we were all playing for fun right now, this would be like Yasuo versus Zed. No. You play to win in rank. You play with me if you want to have fun, right? When we do...
Yeah, because we're never going to win if we play together.
If we do the Kayn Pantheon bot lane, that's fun right there, my friend. That's what you need with a bit of fun.
You are the king of the ha-ha. It's definitely a lot of fun to play with you. Fnatic do have a gold lead still, but it's only 1,000 now. It has shrunk since NIP got that Baron profit. Now ahead in CS in that top lane as well. We saw how strong he could be on this Gnar in a split push role. And against a Rumble who only falls off in a 1v1 as we get later on into the game, I really want to see what the former SKT member can do for NIP.
Just keeping track of the vision as well, because there's no big objective for either team to take advantage of for the time being. So you can just see wars littered across the map from NIP particularly. They haven't really focused their vision. They've just put it around where they've allowed TQ to push. You can see a deep pink ward down in the bottom lane. You can see one deep control ward rather near the top as well. And NIP, they're just trying to help EQ get back into the game. 0-3, not the best scoreline for any AD carry, but they're just investing, funneling as much gold and experience into him as possible. He's now been able to equalize that experience gap. He's now slowly closing the itemization difference. And we did talk about how Reckless, regardless, will do way more damage. It doesn't mean that a Callisto suddenly becomes useless because there are so many squishy targets. It just comes back to what you were saying when it comes to tanks. Callisto does struggle when you have a lot of high HP targets because you can't fully utilize the wrench. You can get a lot of stacks in, but because it scales with AD, armor is a good mitigator of that kind of burst. Whereas when you have all these squishy targets, you have low HP, that wrench becomes a big threat that in an extended trade can definitely work out in your favor. So it's going to be exciting how these fights play out, especially once Hiku is able to fully complete his third item. As we do see Nagne now completely going for a Leandries instead, rather than the Void Staff. And I love that shift as well. He's recognizing there's not a huge amount of magic resistance that he has to hit through. So he's just going for an alternate build path. Current health percentage damage, a lot of good poke value in the game, as things like the Baron and Dragon will be respawning in the near future.
40 seconds on the Baron, 50 seconds on a Mountain Drake. Fnatic did pick up a Cloud while we were discussing other things. Not the best Dragon for them to have, but still impactful. We say this every time a Cloud Gate Drake gets picked up.
I love Cloud.
Well, play-by-play say this every time, because basically we can't see the value in them, so we have to just pretend that they can be good.
It adds a lot to the Elden Drake team. We saw how impactful that was in game 1. The more Drakes you have, it's always going to contribute towards that later game. The fact that we're able to steal away the mount of Fnatic is great. Because one of the things you always have to look at between both teams is how quickly they take down Baron. Tristana and Acacio, huge Baron taking potential. Along with Ballista, also into the big threat taking down this Baron later in the game. Try for these teams to get the good setup, but the objective, it could go swiftly.
And it's so often as well, we talk about this in the corner. I want to just highlight one specific one. I hope you've done the following down here, because Soaz and Reckless walked over this wall near the Fnatic red buff twice, and it allows Prophet just to be so much safer down towards this bottom lane. I'm sure we'll go down there in just a little bit. That control wall is so vital for Prophet in that side lane. Now he's going to start up this Baron.
Can he do it again?
Shook. Oh, come on, baby. Come on, Shook. Do it for the fans. Do it for the adoring public. Do it. Kingslayer can't get there. The monster shot knocks him back. The Fnatic do secure the Baron. The equalizer comes out as well. That catches onto Nagne. Reckless gets a crit. The cocoon, the cleanse, the unleashed power doesn't even get through half. Reckless is held. Prophet is still pushing. Did not teleport to join the fight.
Exquisite ultimate there from Reckless, knocking Shook over 2 walls, or 1 wall, to basically
keep him away.
But keeping him away from the back to avoid any risk of a steal was massive for Fnatic. Prophet now continuing to split the bottom lane. Would be great for NIP, but Fnatic, their eyes are set on the best of their opposition.
Fnatic get 1 point here, they can perhaps even end the game. Prophet still down towards that bottom lane, looking for the inhibitor. Fnatic secure themselves there first. Hiku, Reckless jumps in, has the QSS if he wants to get out, and Hiku's going to take a chunk. Reckless just about survives. The Rend would have killed him. NIP are able to defend their AD carry. They do not get an inhibitor. Shook jumps in, knocks Cap back. Fnatic will escape with their lives.
Reckless is able to base. Prophet, he can get the inhibitor. Great.
Take a little bit of damage. Prophet is going to slow him down as well, but Prophet isn't able to find further. A second Fountain Drake steal would be great for NIP. Gives some extra damage, of course, to the Baron. With Ballista, they have a great Baron taking from position.
But also the Elder Drake as well. Now, take full advantage of the Baron buff they have. And then left on top of it. They have a minion wave set up top. Notice Caps walking through the mid lane to push those minions into the base of NIP so that they have to respond. I love the fact that Fnatic are not slowing down. They know that they want to keep the pressure going. They don't want to have to rely on another Baron in order to take the rest of NIP's base.
And so many strong performances from Fnatic members in this game. We said we wanted to see them play more like MVPs. Yet to die. Reckless is yet to die. And this would be them being able to equalize kills if they can close out this game. You have to remember how strong NIP were in that game 1 Valiant, especially when we got to these later game team fights. And although the scaling in Fnatic's favor, NIP showed us they do not give up without a fight.
I think it's worth highlighting that this is only game 2. It's still Fnatic win are guaranteed a game 3. Both these teams have been playing very well, even though NIP have been on the back foot for the majority of this game. They've held on. They have not made this for Fnatic. This is not to be a one-sided stop. I love the fact that NIP, in that final game of the season against the best performing team in Group A, some argue the best team currently in Europe, they work for their win.
Do not get fed for the ULCS. You have to work for your supper, and Fnatic are working incredibly hard to try and shut down NIP. They're pushing in towards this bottom lane. Just want to focus very quickly on the AD carry itemizations. Only 3 completed items for Hiku, whereas Reckless is so far ahead on this Tristana. He's got 4 items and a QSS. He is almost completely built on Tristana.
He's about to flame Horizon his opposition as well. Level 7. Reckless has had a pretty common again. Here comes the equalizer, zoning him away from him.
Pushes him back, and Nagne takes the cocoon as well. That's a cleanse burn. He has no flash as well. NIP as a team are flashless apart from Prophet, which means they have to be that much more defensive in their holding of these inhibitor towers.
Fnatic now successfully taking every stands in their way. Taking in the middle lane. It's top and bottom left remains. Still, at this point of the game, slightly less fight against them. And it will mean so much moving forward.
There's beautiful symmetry as well between the G2 Roccat series and this one. Roccat went ahead, G2 played a very strong second game, and then Roccat were able to win it in the end. I'm sure Fnatic will not want that final game to replay itself in this series, but this is what we want from the top team in Europe. This is the more considerate, more patient, the playing around your composition, around the power, position of the game. Now, it's basically perfect for them. Struttle has to use Exhaust on Broxah, who doesn't even engage for the full fight. Fnatic have NIP by the scruff of the neck. They put down another equalizer. They're looking for this final, for this inhibitor in the top lane. Redemption comes down as well. There's the tower down. Prophet still in the bottom lane, looking for an inhibitor of his own. NIP will be able to answer without giving up an inhibitor yet.
But keep your eyes on the mid lane as well, because there are a lot of minions that are just knocking onto the Nexus tower doors. Here comes a TP from Prophet.
Jump in, jump straight to the back line. He's going to get grounded up. Wild Growth comes out as well, but they cannot keep him alive. Prophet trying to get in with the flank on the back line. But jump straight onto Heatue. The unleashed power will knock back. So Prophet gets a huge stun. That's a shutdown on Pax. And so as is dead. Heatue, this is your time to shine for Reckless. Jeffers and Russell get away.
NIP, they need to get back to the mid lane. That was a great fight for them, 1 for 2. But if they lose an inhibitor, could very well all be for naught. They're able to keep their remaining base alive. They forced the Fnatic squad back. The setup looked promising, but the execution was poor for NIP. The TP flank, Prophet, is what I want you to keep your eyes on. Look at how far away Prophet joins the fight. You can see he is so far from this fight, but that by the time the channel completes, the front line is already dead. And the only reason why NIP are able to turn this is because Jezis jumps in, and then Nagne gets a beautiful 4-man stun off with the ulti into E combo. Multiple members get locked up. There are multiple squishy units, and you're able to see the damage right now. So as is in base, he does have the TP. They don't know that this Baron is going on. It's dead.
Another Baron snuck under the eyes of Fnatic. This is something our bottom team seems so good at doing. Roccat first, and now NIP, the second Baron of the game. Fnatic did this in game 1. They stole a Baron, then they got the second one, and they lost the game. NIP may be trying to do that. Well, trying not to do that in this second game. The Elder Drake is on the cards. NIP pushing down in the middle lane with their Baron in power, kind of setting up death once again. He's going to check straight into it.
Yeah, they're just rushing it down. Bear in mind that I have to notice Prophet, he got the bottom inhibitor as well, so they need to push in favor of NIP. What happened last time? Shook stole this, and Fnatic lost the fight.
Shook's up towards the top side, does have his smite. He's looking for it, they can't get it. Fnatic secure the Elder Drake, and they want to fight. Superb! Equalizer onto the back line of NIP as Fnatic now push forward. Prophet starts out, he's going to go down a second side, can't get it to the mark of Reckless. He's going to hop forward, he wants these resets, he wants these kills, he wants this win, and to the rest of the game. Then Nagne knocks him back, and NIP are able to disengage. They do still have the Baron buff, but
allow it to be stolen away. And this is just very reminiscent of what we saw in Game 1. Except now everything seems to be reversed. And if things continue the way they are, it will result in one big fight. But the game, there's still a lot of the game left. Alistair at 4 items, so many items being completed.
We even have to say that in the last game. It's 6,000 gold ahead for the Fnatic at the moment. However, if you get later into the game, that counts and have to remember, came into this season very much underdog, expected to get really swept. And going into the motion, this week, against Giants, against Shelter, against this thing, much more where NIP have been able to challenge.
Tell your friends at home, European LCS is one crazy show and so many exciting games.
Big ulti. Gaze is going to land, and that is not quite the kill. PG will eventually pop down with the poison. A great kill from Caps. It looked like the gaze would not quite connect, but he manages to get just the tip of it to hit onto HeQ. Spottle goes low as well with the equalizer. Soas jumps in. Spottle has the flash. Profit there, almost mega. He might look to re-engage. Knock back Jezza in the front line. Glacial Fisher hits 2. Profit hopping away as much as he can. Nagne does have a bit of a flank here, but cannot connect as much as he would like onto Fnatic now. Fnatic look for their second inhibitor and perhaps look to close out this game.
HeQ is only just started building his QSS. This is the first time that he gets hit by Captain Ulti. He was 0-3 for so long. They do not want to run the risk. They still show respect towards Nagne. Their bottom inhibitor has respawned and they want to go catch the wave so that he doesn't take it.
Fully built off his Tristana. He's just pumping out damage after damage in these fights, but this was all on Caps.
An ally has been slain.
It's very unfortunate there for HeQ. To check that brush, but he used it southwards rather than southwesterly.
Vedius the weatherman. We've got southwesterly winds from our scribe.
Well,
be careful for poison trails that might be flowing into your mind.
And also creepy snake ladies that turn you to stone.
I've never heard of the weather before, but I think
those are the worst.
Oh, we got a snake lady.
So, Fnatic, they have mid and top. Bear in mind, and they will push that out so for a while. That will take some time for NIP base. So NIP that can keep up with the multi-man unit in the bottom lane. They're keeping Fnatic out for now. Let's see if they can find this fight. We've done it before, now they do it again.
Profit is much more crucial to the team now as well. He's not going for that split push and then teleporting in. He's there from the start of the fight, as is Soaz. All ultimates available on either side. Most of the flashes up as well. This is of a fight. NIP have to defend against the 2 inhibitors that will push in those waves of super minions in the top lane and in the mid. And that's waiting for them to react. And then looking for the push, so everything's got you. NIP aggressive. Doesn't have flash.
Pull down the side of NIP. A little hesitant there. They have super pushing in, and now they feel work their way towards that tower. A few members of NIP going back to base. They all can't go together. Otherwise, that will be the go signal for Fnatic.
Minion wave is still a little while away in this bottom lane, so it looks like Nagne will get back to the tower in time. However, the other waves are pushing in, Vedius.
Inhibitor respawning soon. I heard the announcement. I think it's in the middle lane. Here comes the equalizer. The siege is starting.
Low, explosive shot comes out and gets it. She unbreakable. That's the tower. Profit just turns into Nagne. Fnatic back away because of it. NIP still unable to finally engage. There were minions in the top lane pushing on the engagement.
Fnatic, they're happy with the tower. They don't want to run the risk of losing a fight and allowing NIP to get themselves out of there. Smart
Battle and NIP trying to set up some vision in their red side jungle, but the rest of the map belongs to Fnatic. The late game belongs to Fnatic, scaling in the category, scaling in the NIP. Fighting very much an uphill battle here. 4 towers down. 7,000, almost 8,000 gold behind as well.
And you know what? Scaling's good and all, but what's scaling going to do against Nagne ultimate in your face? If Reckless get fouled back into the rest of the team, and Nagne is able to bring out the moves that he's been so vigilantly building up, that could be the win condition for NIP as a fight starts.
So it's down to half heat to try to cut back dodges as well, and Soaz is squishy. No tank, remember, on this Fnatic lineup. Apart from Jezz's, really only has the locket at the base of the mountain. Fnatic really have to be incredibly careful as to how they engage and when they take these
This is going to be fast. This is really fast.
Holy moly, it's only down to half. The Shook looks to be engaging. We'll get the ward in. It's going to go. Scrapping off towards the side as well. The Miata comes down. He's going to go 2,000. Shook's going to jump in. Rob, get it. Reckless is low, and now NIP have to take this fight. They need to win this one out, but Fnatic are looking to disengage. Buffett gets stunned up, and Reckless opens up the guns. Jump in from Shook, looking for the knockback. So it's down to half. Caps off towards the top side. Still has a blast over to Buffett. He's low. Has a GA though. As Fnatic are able to re-engage the fight and force NIP back. Fnatic still want a little piece of this. Reckless especially. Oh baby, there's your MVP. He jumps in once again, perhaps seeing if he can catch out another member of NIP. Nagne, Jez is going to walk straight into him. So TB's in for the flank. Is this it? Jez is dead to Hiku. The kill on the GA as well, but now Soaz is going to get knocked back, and that's a dead Rumble. Only 3 members of Fnatic left alive. With this Baron buff, they can push in, but they have to be so cautious as to how they fight NIP.
They're just about able to keep their mid inhib alive, but it doesn't matter as Reckless is in the bait. But they walk away with the objective that they want. Now, can NIP get the re-engage?
Shook doesn't have flash, but Buffett cannot quite land the Gnar. That could be it. That could be Fnatic want these inhibs down. They want to know that the old things still live in Europe. Back.
Events, Fnatic, so what, so close. This time it is Shook goes in, he smites. Notice how Fnatic, they just stop. Reckless takes a huge chunk of damage. They are now 2-2. And Shook tries to go for the re-engage. That miasma acted such a strong that NIP is not doing Shook trying to pull it. Try and go for something in their favor. But Soaz ends up dying as well with only 3 members. Fnatic, they cannot close out the game. 48 minutes in. The gold don't matter anymore, Medic.
But coming back to that play, that's not something you expect from the best team in Europe. You don't expect them to overextend like that. You want a little bit more patience. You want a little bit more composure in these late game fights.
But it's this late into the game. You've been playing for a very long time. You also have in the back of your mind that you might even have to play another one. And if you can get that pick, if you can get that game end, sometimes you're playing tunnel visions, and it happens. I don't want to criticize him too much for it. The blue buff will reset. It looks like NIP will not get to the Elder Drake fast enough to contest. Will they even choose to fight? There are a lot of picks coming out right now.
They back away. Fnatic have Elder Drake on everyone. They're looking for the bot lane in here. In 10 seconds, Vedius, this will be the longest game that either Fnatic or NIP have played this split. But perhaps we are getting to that point where it's a little bit unknown. You're not used to having to play this late into the game, and so decisions can go awry at times. He's still with the defense though. This has been so strong from them, and you have to give them credit. As a lower tier team, as the bottom team in Group A, they have held off the league's best in many people's eyes for an incredibly long time, even when Fnatic have had 4, 5, 6, 7,000 gold leads, a 10,000 gold lead now, and as much as it doesn't matter, that has to impact you and your motivation. Prophet's going to jump onto Soaz. He's low. Soaz burning through him. The Wild Growth comes out. Prophet looking for the Mega. Soaz with the Zhonya's back up once again. And Jesus, so much better on this support this game. EQ dodges out the Petrifying Gaze. Uses as well the Mercurial Scimitar. Fnatic will take their third inhibitor of this push. And it's just the Nexus Towers between them and a game 3 in this series.
Fnatic, they have everything. There is only 2 Nexus Towers standing in their way and an NIP squad that is full of motivation to get a series win to end the split. That's a lot of damage onto HiQ, but the ulti's down. Here they go. They're going for the fight.
Soaz is down to 400 HP as well, and Nugna's
I think they're gone. They're out.
Fnatic not quite able to close it out yet. However, Soaz has got teleport. He can rejoin.
Yeah.
He won't have the equalizer. No Petrifying Gaze. Buster Shot is available for Rekkles, as is that Glacial Fissure. But look at NIP. All of the ultimates are available. They have to choose their moment to strike.
Meganar on its way. Rekkles takes a fair chunk of damage from HiQ. Into building. The tension is rising. The TP comes in the bottom lane from Soaz. At this point, analysis is out the window. It's all about who lands that key ultimate. It's all about down to player skill. Late game, full builds, everyone playing in this tense moment. NIP, they have to deal with the minions. They have to deal with Fnatic. But Fnatic, they don't feel confident enough to commit with 2 towers standing in their way. They're yet to pull the trigger.
We've gone so far in this game as well that Rekkles has broken a record for the split. The most CS of anyone on any champion across the course of the EU LCS Summer Split. It's only apt that in week 10, Rekkles, the man of the split, will break that CS record. And now they are looking to push in once again. EQ so aggressive, considering how bad he played early on. He dodges out the Petrifying Gaze. This is not the EQ that went 0-2 in laning phase. This is the EQ that went unkilled in game 1. NIP do not give an inch to Fnatic.
So far up on the front line. That is a dangerous way to play, but he does get the ultimate out from Cassidy. Takes a churn of damage, but remember the life skill that he has available. The onset as well.
Stun onto Jazzy. Here comes Shook. The equalizer's going to split. That's huge from the team. That's huge. However, HiQ will be able to back away into the redemption. Not huge! Stun! And an unleashed power to the face of Soaz. He's going to not quite die. He survives. He's dead! NIP! NIP! Venius! They win the
huge team fight for other people. Look at the base. Look at the base. There's still a lot of minions
Prophet's
from
going
Fnatic.
back. Prophet's going back. Can he save the base?
Oh, Fnatic.
No way, Rekkles. If they backdoor this, I will need to
They've done this before. Oh my god, there's no way. They have to back. They have to back.
NIP have to back and they're doing it. They're leaving 2 members to continue to push. Prophet trying to defend. 3 members of NIP are back here. Nagne always has that unleashed power back up.
They're backing 2. They're backing 2.
Stop the ports. Stop the ports. Stop them getting back if you want to win. NIP, they're going to look to break the base. 30 seconds on Soaz, 30 seconds on Caps, 30 seconds on Jez's. Can NIP win?
Can they even defend their own Nexus? He's doing his best to hold the line. The pressure is mounting. There they are. NIP on the base. The backs are coming in from Rekkles. NIP, they have to disengage. They win a huge fight against Fnatic. Oh my word!
What a game to see NIP off. They are in such a proud position at the moment that they're going. But 5 members of Fnatic will be left alive. Let's see if there's a ward in the NIP base they can get to. No, there is not. No back here from Soaz today. The Baron's going to fall. NIP will secure it. Perhaps Fnatic will pull the trigger because NIP are right back in this game.
When they lost to Roccat, the 0-14 Jarvan, when they could not pull the trigger. They could not do it fast enough. And in this situation, they were showing so much respect. They know the late health they have, but they have no reliable engaged tools. Something that we barely talked about in this game is that how do they really start the fight? And NIP, they have the disengage tools, and when that ever hard commit, it becomes difficult. They just have to position it with the Elise.
Fnatic, don't do this. Let's push again, Lydia.
It is.
What Fnatic do when they can't work out a way to engage is exactly what you're saying. What they've been doing up until these Nexus Towers was they put down an equalizer behind the turret and said, either you stand there and fight us and take a huge chunk of damage, or we are able to take the tower anyway. NIP now pushing down the bottom lane. It's the only lane with an inhibitor still down for them. See perhaps if they can catch someone out in the jungle. Not going to be the case for now, but Profit will spot them. NIP, of course, have the empowered recall.
I'm going to be so sad if someone die. I want a 5v5 fight. Yeah, I want the final deciding fight to determine this game. I don't want anyone to get caught. I want it to be mechanics on mechanics, team fighting on team fighting. NIP have fought so bravely, and while Fnatic fans are desperate, well, they're not desperate, like this is the dominant team, it's the best split that Fnatic had since 2015. I can hear the crowd. They still cheer for NIP though. There is so much support for this squad because they have worked so hard this split to get this point. The final game. There's just, you want to see them succeed, but you also want for that such a feel.
NIP delayed Fnatic so long that this is the longest game of the split. They're looking for the inhibitor in the bottom lane. Fnatic have all 5 members back to defend.
Can NIP pull the trigger?
5 MVP candidates on Fnatic against 5 members of NIP that are heading to the promotion tournament. NIP take their second inhibitor off the game, and Fnatic continue to look for the defense. Miami pushes Hiku. Wouldn't like.
A little trigger happy there, at least he's willing to engage. But NIP, they know they have the Baron, they feel the confidence welling up inside them, but a goal to this point means nothing. Battle of fighting.
Battle of command on the minion to help it try and push into the inhibitor towers. We haven't even talked about 6 item builds. Everyone has been there for so long.
Forget the items.
Oh, that is important. He can now stand even further on that front line. So, trying to get the harpoons to hit, but Hiku dodging them like a crafty whale.
That is what's allowed this to do so much damage in this late game. Keep your eyes on Nagne, because he's going to be the big determiner in this late game fight.
So low, almost full. There is, of course, still the possibility that Zoaz builds full AD and TPs into the back to try and get a backdoor
attempt. Look at that ward, look at it.
There's a ward there for AD Rumble. It's a thing. NIP looking to close out a 2-0 over Fnatic.
With minion wave.
Huge wave, but Baron falls off earlier, so now perhaps NIP do not have the pressure to advance. No matter what command of jump away as NIP look for the win. They'll get the stun.
Has been slain.
Betting as you predicted it. 2-0 for NIP. I bow to your prediction powers, because that was one of the most impressive wins I have seen against Fnatic. And that's one of the improvements I've seen against Fnatic across the entire split.
Oh my word. NIP. Exciting game 3, but no. NIP held the line. Their Nexus alive until the very end. And you can't focus in on one player. So many did so much in the late game. Profit had so many monumental ultimates. Shook getting it to 20 hours to get so much just at the right time. Nagne with phenomenal stun.
NIP, that is one of the most impressive performances I have seen in my career as a caster, never mind across the EU LCS, to hold on for so long against a force that has been dominant throughout the rest of Split. We talked time and time again, who's the Fnatic MVP? We said, is it Soaz, is it Broxah, is it Jezzy? And all of them have a claim to lay on that title. But today, on this ground, NIP are the MVPs.
And it's super important to take into consideration the fact that game one, there was a discussion like, oh, well, Fnatic, they weren't playing their comfort champions. They were trying some new things. They wanted to add things to their repertoire. And that's fair. I understand. They still had a good performance. A lot of strong individuals that they quite good. And then you come into game two, Tristana, comfort pick on the early carry. In the middle lane, you've got the Cassio cap, something that he has played time and time again. At least the first loss for Broxah on that champion. Sure, the Rocket is something that Soros has brought in the match. He hasn't played much of it this season, but it's something that he's very well and the competition just made it too difficult for them to engage. They couldn't find the fight. NIP were not falling for the traps. They were able to I don't want to take anything away from Fnatic. They played the majority of that game exceptionally well. They shut down the Ballista. They prevented that snowballing wing condition. They showed maybe a little too much respect for their opponents, but at the end of the day, it was NIP that came up. It was such a series.
I don't think there's much doubt as to this. Hiku in game one was unstoppable. In game two, a poor early game, and then the ability to step forward time and time again, to step past the miasma. I believe an interview is being set up as we speak, so we'll get into that as soon as possible. I want to come back to what was important. I'm going to focus on they're going into the semi-final berth. We know they're going to Alex. He's tied with a final berth. And it's not like last split where it was Origin and Giants and everyone said they're going to get beat. It's such a great performance by them and the rest of the team.
That's very true, and to add to that, it's going to be even more bittersweet as well, because if they had beat Roccat, that Fnatic versus G2 would have determined first place.
I didn't even think of that. NIP proved that Kings can bleed, and for their second series of the split, let's head over to Tyler with a word from their support.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and wow, Spraddle, you not only 2-0'd Fnatic, it was on the last day of the split for you guys. It was the longest game of the split. How you imagine beating a team like Fnatic?
Honestly, I didn't really expect to beat him at all. You know? It feels good to us.
It has to feel good when you get that big victory. I know you guys are going to be moving so much over the last several weeks. This is now your second victory. And I noticed a lot of the times it's coming from these Baron calls or Elder Dragon calls, and you guys are just coming up very clutch objective fights.
Not necessarily. I think it's more about us just actually taking like game one today, we like just Baron. But it's still risky. Like, we lost Baron at that point, and it's like fine, we have to wait 7 minutes and we try again, you know. But it's not something we've been focused on. It's just more getting used to the stage. Like, we have 2 Koreans in the team who doesn't speak a lick of English before getting here, so like everyone has to get used to each other, and we're just a new team, you know, so it takes time to just get used to things, I would say. So it's not something we've been working on, but it just comes with time. Like, it's not like...
Seems like it is finally starting to work together. Who is the one who's really making a lot of this calls? Is it the Democratic, or is it the one who's telling you guys to go in for the 50-50?
I think it's a bit mixed. Like, I guess it's mostly I have the I speak but usually somebody just brings it up like, hey, can we do Baron? And then it's like, yeah, let's go for it. So like, I wouldn't like say anyone particularly, but I would say everyone just calls it out. And if we agree as a team it's a good call, we have to go for it. Yeah.
It seems to be working out more often than not. Now, you guys are going to be heading into the promotion. However, you've now taken out the Kings of Europe. So, I mean, how's your confidence that you're going to be able to survive those promos?
Honestly, like, we're not like worried about it or like scared at all. Like, I think it's gonna be good games, honestly. Like maybe like bad good games. And I don't think it's gonna be clean. Like maybe this last game. I think all 4 teams are honestly fighting like in some ways. I think like there is anyone who's like the favorite, you know. And I don't think anyone is like the worst. So I can't say like I have a favorite to face. I think it's gonna be fun to play against everyone. Like, I have Gillis as an old teammate in Giants, and like Schalke is my old like organization. So I have like it's just gonna be fun games.
I think so too, and I think that's the way you put it. Good bad games. We definitely have a lot of those. Thank you very much, Spraddle. Congrats on the win. All right, we're gonna go ahead and send it out to the analysts to close out today.
Wow, lovely interview there with Spraddle. Lovely shoes as well, very hip and happening. And well, great to see NIP racking up that victory, which we didn't see coming. I definitely didn't see coming. And just with the promotion tournament around the corner, I can't even imagine the confidence boost that these guys must be getting.
Yeah, just winning against Fnatic must be a huge confidence boost, and also has to put a lot of fear into the challenger teams.
Yeah, that's true. If they see how NIP can perform in a high pressure situation, I want to take a look at the final fight that turned it all around, because we thought, yeah, it all comes down to one fight, but realistically, are they going to turn it? And this is how it happened.
Yeah, so Shook goes in, and I believe it's Nagne actually catches a big stun in the amount of damage that comes on Soaz, and this fight opens up, and from here, NIP already see it, and we have that funny back and forth moment where they're trying to rush it down, but at this point, Joey, we've been talking for like the last 15 minutes about Fnatic not having any engage. How critical is that to this NIP being able to take the game in the end?
Well, in the end, it's very important. However, they had their opportunity. They have put it this way, because they have the tools to win the game without engaging. But when you're in the back foot, someone catches a teammate, the rumble dies, then suddenly you're on the back foot, you're in your base, and now you need to find that catch. And you can't do it anymore.
I want to take a moment to appreciate Nico de Puzo and his reaction. I can only imagine with the history that he has with that organization as well, that this must mean a lot to him. And well, he must find a way now to keep this going with this team. You know, they have a couple of game wins under their belt. They have a very important series win over their belt that doesn't mean anything today on the Rift, specifically for the EULCS standings. But he's got to find a way to retain what happened here today.
Absolutely. And to talk about the history, Nico's a guy that's been dragged, you know, over the hot coals by a lot of the fans from Fnatic and that, and this has to be feeling a little bit of, you know, redemption almost. The fact that you can come out,
victory.
Yeah, exactly, beat the Fnatic in the lineup. But I think the important part is the fact that you've now taken down the #1 team in Group A right before you take on challenging teams, which is no disrespect to them, but Fnatic, we broke down earlier why they're so strong in Europe. You get a win there, despite any other circumstances, that is still a massive compliment. Up against like Giants and Schalke, that definitely makes them a scary opponent.
As we take a look at some of the highlights of this series specifically, maybe let's identify some of the strong suits for NIP. We have to call out Hiku, especially in that game 1 and also in game 3, and overall he's been a good factor or become a very important player. Is there any other players that you guys would want to highlight that really stepped up today?
I think Nagne played very good. He got a solo kill on Caps in a difficult lane matchup in game 1. And in game 2 he held his own. He had a good matchup, however the enemy had Elise, so he had to play very defensive. However, he played the team fight really well and really set EQ up for success.
I think I was glad to see Prophet show a little bit more than Mara, very strong plays, and I continued having silent pressure. And I know you said game 3, Nico, I'm not calling you out, but it was only 2 games. Yes, they were very long games, but that's a 2-0 for NIP for anybody that did manage to miss it. So, I mean, Prophet opening up a couple of angles, getting inhibitors in the bottom side to keep NIP in the game was just enough to allow NIP back into it.
Yeah, also tracking NIP's development throughout the split. They did get a lot of early leads early on in the split, where Prophet was oftentimes kind of on his own. You remember a lot of Jarvan games, but it does seem like a heavy teamfight champion like Gnar is something that should be taken away from him. They have the most victories with Prophet on Gnar than all their others combined. 3, by the way. So
I think that's because it's this hybrid champion where you can have teamfight presence, but if you're a world-class, maybe a little too strong to say Prophet, if you are an experienced top laner like that, then you can control a silent and then have teamfight presence.
He really likes to do it.
And Gnar is just super strong overall. Before we move on, I do want to think of what we could have. So on Saturday we have our still amazing, fantastic clash at the beginning of the day, lost to NIP, that would have been for the first place decider, that matchup. Whatever, nobody thought that was going to happen. And then come into the day, and the Kingslayer's Rocket once again pulled off the miracle. They beat G2, Joey, and I know that we've been talking about, yeah, we already mentally had prepared for the quarterfinal, and Will this be a bit of a mental blow? The fact that it could have still been there, the fight for first place?
Honestly, it's very bittersweet, but it's not that big. I think us losing does less to us than Fnatic losing to NIP mentally. So, you know, we have to go to the quarterfinals just like we expected. Not the way we wanted to do it by losing to Roccat, but in the end, we're going to go where we thought we were going to go from the start. So we'll recover.
Yeah, interesting one there, the fact that it will influence Fnatic harder. Stress last week around, Fnatic had a tough time against Roccat. Now they have a tough time against NIP. Joey might be right in the fact that it might be a bit more worrisome from the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, it might be. I can tell by watching Fnatic against teams like Roccat and NIP, there is a bit of hubris where they feel overconfident. I feel like Fnatic going into a series against any other top contender is a little bit more focused. I don't think we would have got a Xayah Azir draft if you guys unfortunately hadn't already lost to Roccat. Now that's not an excuse for Fnatic. They should still be able to deal with NIP. Whether you're giving it 90%, 100%, you always have to assume that a team like Fnatic is going to give it 100%.
Yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn thêm rồi đành là thế. Đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. No, ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Sao không ôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến? Sao không hôn anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến? Sao không vui lên như một thời bao thương mến? Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền? Ta chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Thật vui lên nhé, em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế, không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế, mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế. Đành sẽ chia hai người về hai lối. No,
ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới.
Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em.
Thời bao thương mến, màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chỉ thấy nhau khi tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh có cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, đến đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc em đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em.
Thật vui lên nhé, em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế, không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh là thế, mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế, đành sẽ chia hai người về hai lối đó.
Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước
thương mến. Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chưa thấy nhau khi tình này đang say đắm. Và em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh góp cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm. Mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả. Và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi. Tiến đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh vẫn còn lại một trái tim yêu thương. Quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế. Mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Sẽ như hai ta không thể cùng nói nhé. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi đơn bé. Đó 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế. Đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối đó. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả. Và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi. Đến đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không chúc ai là tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh đến bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh một còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Sao không ôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến? Sao không ôm anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến? Sao không đi lên như một thời bao thương mến? Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền? Ta chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm. Mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm. Mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả. Và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi. Tiến đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh còn lại một trái tim yêu em. đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế. Không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế. Mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không được từng nói nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi đơn bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế. Đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. No, ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi. Tiến đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Chia tay nhau khi tình này đang say đắm. Mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm. Mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô ban đầu nay đã xa rồi. Em đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Ra đi em phải thật vui lên nhé. Anh không yêu anh từng cần một lần đến thế. Không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế. Mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Sẽ đi hai ta không thể cùng nói đến. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế. Đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi. Tiến đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh đến bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Sao hôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến, sao hôm nay như ngày nào còn lưu luyến, sao vui lên như một thời bao thương mến, màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chưa thấy nhau khi tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh muốn cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, cho anh còn lại một trái tim. Ra đi và thật vui lên nhé, em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế, không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế, mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. Oh, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lên không rồi đành là thế, đành sẽ chia hai người về hai lối đó. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Yeah. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sao hôm anh như lần đầu tiên em đến, sao hôm anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến, sao vui lên như một thời bao thương mến, màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chỉ bên nhau khi tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. nhé. Em không yêu anh đâu cần buồn tênh đến thế. Không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế. Mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta cùng thuộc về nhau em nhé. Khi sự yêu nhau như một trò chơi đơn lẻ. Ba năm qua đi lên cùng rồi đành là thế. Đành sẽ chia hai người về hai lối đó. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả. Và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi. Tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Yeah. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai được tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn của em bên một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh đến bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sao không anh nhìn được em thế? Sao không anh nhìn lại một con lính? Sao không vui lên như một thời đau thương mến? Màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền? Ta chỉ tin nhau khi tình này đang say đắm. Mai ra đi ngồi nhà này hoang vu. Anh giúp cho em hết bao tình cảm êm ấm. Mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả. Và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi. Tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế. Mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế. Đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối đó. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả. Và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mong ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi. Tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Yeah. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả. Để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa. Để nhắc cho anh đến bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm. Nhắc cho anh còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Yeah, yeah, yeah. như ngày nào còn lưu luyến. Sao vui lên như một thời bao thương mến, màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chỉ thấy nhau vì ngày đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã xa rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Ngày mai anh không còn em nữa, không cho anh là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh luôn còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Không nên quan tâm đến cuộc đời anh hoang phế, mình hãy quên đi bao câu hẹn thề. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sẽ như hai ta không thuộc về nhau em nhé. No, no, oh, oh. Khi xưa yêu nhau như một trò chơi thơ bé. Oh, no, no. 3 năm qua đi lớn khôn rồi đành là thế, đành dễ chia hai người về hai lối. No. Ngày xưa cho nhau tình yêu đó, em mong em là tất cả, và muốn anh luôn bên em không bao giờ lìa xa. Mộng ước ngây ngô lúc ban đầu nay đã phai rồi, tiễn đưa em về một tình yêu mới. Yeah. Ngày mai không còn em nữa, không cho ai là tất cả, để nỗi cô đơn theo anh đến một miền trời xa, để nhắc cho anh biết bao ngày hạnh phúc êm đềm, nhắc cho anh còn lại một trái tim yêu em. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, baby, baby, baby. Oh. Sao không muốn anh như ngày nào còn lưu luyến, sao đi anh như một thời bao thương mến, màu mắt em sao hôm nay muộn phiền. Ta chia tay nhau cuộc tình này đang say đắm, mà em ra đi ngôi nhà này hoang vu lắm. Anh không cho em hết bao kỷ niệm êm ấm, mọi thứ nơi đây đều thuộc về em. Ngày xưa cho nhau